There are a lot of mistakes I have made in my 3 years of transition beauty-wise, and they have had some of them long-term effects that I now have to deal with. Welcome back to DIMITRIA SPARROW, aiding you in the journey to freedom and femininity. Here I make this video to basically give you an idea of things that could happen to you through basic beauty and hygiene tips that you can easily avoid so that you do not have to learn the hard way. Most of the stuff could end up happening to you if you're MTF, so here are some things to look out for. Follow my Instagram and Facebook for the latest updates and content, and if you like videos like this, be sure to subscribe. First thing I want to talk about is over-thinning your eyebrows. When I was in my first year, I overly thinned my brows, and you can see in through certain photos, in my opinion, I don't think I have as good eyebrows as I do now. One of the reasons I wouldn't do it is because if you actually want to get them a little thicker later on, it's a lot harder. You need to grow all of that strong, coarse hair that is initially in your eyebrow all over again. The way to present feminine and look the best that you can be, there are certain hurdles that you need to go through MTF or if you're a male crossdresser. This is because if you've gone through a male puberty, you have to deal with a different facial structure and different body proportions. In over-thinning your brows, males have longer, bigger faces. For example, if you were to take, say, a cis woman's eyebrows, on average cis woman's eyebrows, that thinness, and you were to put it on a male face, a face that has gone through male puberty, it's gonna look smaller than it did on a cis woman, because their face is a little bit smaller. So what happens is when your eyebrows are a little thinner and really, really small, like they're just lines, it ends up making your face even bigger. If I were to give you any tips on your brows, I know I have not done a video on grooming your brows or shaping them. What I will tell you right now is it's not so much the size of your brows, the thickness that matters. It's more about the actual shape. It's about how well it's defined and how well that arch is. You'll meet trans girls who have very bushy brows, and it actually looks good on them. It's because it's a nice defined shape and they've added that arch into their brow. You need to be able to have your eyebrows match the proportions of your face. Next thing I would talk about is wearing your hair in ponytails too often. This is in the respect that you've grown your hair out to a degree like I have. In one of my previous videos, I talked about what's called traction alopecia. And this is hair loss that is caused by pulling at the hair. It's usually caused by certain hairstyles that tend to pull, like cornrows, dreadlocks, buns, and in this case, ponytails. In that video, I delve into that my forehead has severely receded. There are broken fragments, the hair is thinner, there's very short hair that is all that's left from constantly pulling at it. So here's the thing, your follicles on the very front of your face are very, very fragile. And so think about what happens if every day over the course of months that you are constantly pulling at those little fragile follicles. I know it's tempting because long hair gets in the way of everything. When I'm vacuuming or when I'm shaving my body, it's really, really annoying. But give your hair time to sit and breathe. You do not want to deal with a receding hairline. I have a big enough forehead as it is. I know, don't let me know, I already know. It's a problem, and I don't want you to have to deal with that discomfort and self-conscious fear that your forehead is all of a sudden receding when you realize, oh, I've been on estrogen. Okay, it's not hereditary. What is happening? Treat your hair with a lot of respect. Next thing I would advise for you is to avoid shaving every single day. I'm one of those people that is very big on skincare because I have very sensitive skin. I'm a very sensitive person in general. Sensitive emotionally, I have sensitive teeth, I got sensitive hair, and I have very sensitive skin. This could be just me, this could be just the effect it had on me, but think about what happens if you shave your face every single day and you're putting makeup over them. Furthermore, you probably will be on HRT pretty quickly, and that softens your skin like nothing else. Why would you shave every day? Well, the thing is, you're possibly going to be presenting yourself female every single day, and the last thing you want is a possible stubble. Say if you're working, or if you just like to go outside and interact in public, if you're a city girl, that is something that could lead to you shaving every day. So I worked in retail. So every day I wanted to have a close, clean shave because I wanted to be good at presenting and I didn't want to be misgendered. Here's what happened. You see that little bump right there on my face? I wasn't born with that. What happened was one day I was shaving and I nicked that side of my upper lip. And so if you shave every day and you're not taking proper care of your face, that little cut is constantly being recut, reopened every single day. And so as your body basically tries to fix problems and try to help you or protect you from wounds, when I kept doing that, when I kept reopening the wound from shaving every single day, it started developing tougher scar tissue. So now I've got a big bump that I could have avoided if I wasn't shaving so significantly. So it very well just could be me, as I have sensitive skin, but I think the truth is a lot of people have very sensitive skin. If you persist in having to shave every day, say after the pandemic, this is something you absolutely have to do for self-comfort. Here's the thing, I would say try to have some sort of day off. And secondly, be very diligent about your skincare routine. I would also say do not shave against the grain every single day. Just don't be so self-conscious and persistent in shaving every single day that you end up like me. Next thing is something a lot of people don't talk about. I assumed that my lips were symmetrical, and they are not. I talked about this in a previous video about big fat red lipsticks, pink neon ones, or even like a black lipstick. With those, it basically reminds you that your lips are not perfectly shaped. With those types of lipsticks, it's basically, like I said, it's making the three-dimensional lips you have into a 2D shape. And when it's just a flat shape, it more evidently shows how asymmetrical your lips actually are. My bottom lip on this side, it projects forward, it's fatter, and it slumps like this. So it's almost like this is the left side. So it's just like this, but it's kind of like that. And it makes me think, is my jaw a certain way? Like if I go like this, like if I were to do that instead, would it align? But it doesn't. That side of the lip is not shaped perfectly symmetrically. I gotta tell you, I've only noticed this very, very recently. The amount of time it took me to get my lips done for filming this video today took about 45 minutes. And what I do is I take a look in the camera and I'm just like this. And every single time, if I just did my natural lip line, this side would be like, every time I had to record it, take a look on my computer, and then go back in the mirror to make minor adjustments. It's really, really frustrating. And I don't even know if this looks absolutely symmetrically perfect. I'm hoping it's sufficient because I can't do this all day. But a way you can get around a lot of this stuff is, well, for one thing, figure out if your lips are asymmetrical. Try a bright red lipstick. If you follow your natural lip line, does it look weird? Secondly, this is why lip liners exist. You can correct the asymmetrical qualities of your lips. And to figure out also is to look at your lips in certain directions. Take a look at your mirror and figure out if you turn or look down a certain way, if something is jutting out, if something doesn't look right. Like my lips, like the bottom lip doesn't look so bad if I look like this, but as soon as I turn down like this, it looks a lot larger on that side. So figure that out for yourself if you do plan to put on a lot of like Marilyn Monroe style, like gothic, kind of big, dark, full coverage lipsticks, because in that 2D shape, the asymmetrical qualities of your lips are far more emphasized. Next thing I would say, speaking of makeup, is starting out with grabbing makeup products because you feel like you have to get those products. So when I first transitioned, I knew I had to get a bunch of makeup products. So I was like, okay, I need to get foundation, blush, concealer, lip liner, mascara, highlighter, contour. And if I knew what bronzer was, I would be like, okay, I need to get bronzer too, right? But the thing is, makeup is super overwhelming if you've never tried it before. There are a ton of brands, there's a ton of different shades, there's a shitload of makeup brushes. Have an understanding of a few products that you can get where you can go, okay, it's used for this purpose and it will help my face for these reasons. For my case, the makeup product I shouldn't have been using was contour. It would have helped out my presentation immensely because if you use, say, contour, for example, and you don't know the brush to use for it, it just looks like you're putting a darker shade on these parts of your face. You're kind of just under the impression, well, it's contour. I mean, I have to use it and it's supposed to just go here, right? I'm just barely starting to figure out contour. Just barely. And it's taken a long time. So I would say just don't overwhelm yourself with a assortment of makeup products. I would say just focus on, say, foundation, blush, a color corrector for your facial hair, and also maybe mascara. Those things are, I'd say, essential, especially if you're looking to more simply feminize your face. So focus on those things. And if you're like, okay, here's a product that does this thing, it will solve the issue that I'm lacking in, then that will really help you. Next is neglecting my skin. I plan to do a few more skincare videos in the future because I'm huge on skincare. With summer coming up, a lot of issues come in when you're exposed to UV rays. And secondly, when you put makeup on, your makeup is only as good as your canvas. You'll find a lot of the professional makeup artists and YouTubers out there, sometimes they'll do a skincare routine sort of video, and you'll find it is thorough like a motherfucker. There are a ton of products that they use, and there's several steps that they take, and they build on layers. Not to say that you need every single skincare product like serum or skin softener or toner. You'll find a lot of these YouTubers, when they don't have makeup on, they tend to have really, really good skin, and you need good, healthy skin that can protect itself against all the makeup that you put on, likely every single day. So you need to prep for makeup. You need to cleanse the skin to get rid of any impurities. Then you also should moisturize to add a protective barrier to whatever that makeup can do to your skin. And whatever you do, do not sleep with your makeup on. For one thing, I encourage trans women to look after their skin because when you deal with facial hair, that is an issue that cis women don't have to experience, right? I mean, they do have like facial hair to a degree that they have to take care of, but they don't have to put a big fat razor across their face every single day. So keep that in mind. Be very diligent about your skincare because you likely will have very oily, very dry, or very sensitive skin. And the last thing I will give you, one of the things I regret doing and the beauty mistake I made was not giving my earrings enough time to heal. A lot of people tend to have earring problems, and it can be solved with a lot of simple steps. One of the mistakes I made was getting it done at Claire's. Do not get pierced with a piercing gun. It is blunt trauma hitting your skin rather than a needle slowly penetrating the flesh. Any piercer that is worth themselves will not tell you to get stuff done with a piercing gun. It can lead to a lot of other issues in the future. Advice I would give you, whatever jewelry that you are pierced with that is keeping the wound open for that time, leave it in for 2 months minimum. You need jewelry that is high quality and cannot lead to any complications where an open wound is taking place. You do not want to replace it with something that is not as hypoallergenic and all of this. You'll find a lot of people will tend to replace their earrings with stuff like sterling silver, which can lead to a lot of issues on non-healed piercings, and stuff from Spencer's or Hot Topic. A lot of that jewelry is meant to be used on a fully healed piercing. Leave the jewelry alone for 2 months minimum. If you do get it pierced, it clears. One of the things they tell you that is unbelievably stupid is to rotate it. It is a myth that it's going to get stuck together. When you constantly rotate it, you're just opening the wound over and over and over. And that irritates it, that makes it have to heal for a longer period of time. For one thing, the only thing you should really have to be using is saline solution. What I would say is simply a lot of piercing studios tend to have saline to give you, like a saline solution. Just squirt it like 1 to 2 times. And if you end up having to deal with any sort of debris that is happening, you might have to deal with accidentally getting makeup on it. I would say the only other thing you should end up using is a very basic soap, like an antimicrobial or germicidal soap, or just something that is very, very basic, like Dr. Bronner's. Slowly massage it around the wound and clean it off with some water. That's only in those instances, but 95% of the time, just use saline solution and you will be just fine. So those are all the beauty mistakes I have made, MTF, that I want you to avoid. I've just given you all the information that you can be prepared when all of these things come up, and that if you do not go through these solutions, that these are the consequences that it could lead you, that you do not have to go through. So if you do have any questions or concerns about anything, please comment down below. I am not a big YouTuber, so I will surely answer all of your questions. Stay beautiful, everyone. Take care.